to another episode of the Why Not Today podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Kane, and the Why Not Today podcast is here to serve business owners. So, for more than 30 years, I've built businesses through relationships, referrals, networking, and basically consistent action. Now I turn that around and help other service based entrepreneurs find more opportunities, attract more clients, and grow their businesses with confidence. And if you're ready for practical strategies, encouragement, and accountability to help you move forward, you're in the right place. And why not today, as I always say? So let's jump right into this. And what I want to talk to you today about is nobility of service. What the heck does that mean? Why your business deserves to grow. I want to start with a question. I want you to really think about, why did you start your business? What was that why not today moment that just kept going over in your head and you just couldn't let go of? That conversation you had with a friend or somebody that said, oh my goodness, you do this. How do you do this? You're like, oh, it's so easy. And they're like, why don't you start a business? And so we all have that moment. I know for me, the Why Not Today or business started by a conversation about a podcast. I remember exactly where I was, what I was doing, walking with my friend Bianca, who I just happened to see a couple days ago. And I just said, I want to start a podcast. And look where it's taken me now. And that was, gosh, um, I just started the fifth episode of these podcasts. So think about, why did you start your business? Now, a lot of times we start a business and it goes in other directions, but what keeps you up at night? What gets you excited? What is just your burning passion? Because most of us start a business because we want to help people, we want to support people, we want to make a difference. So think about what you do, who do you serve, and don't lose sight of that answer. Keep it in front of you. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But do you have a picture or an or a something you put on your computer or something in your phone that you can see and remember? I have on my computer a post-it note that says you are making an impact. The reason you are making an impact is because you truly care and have over 30 years experience and expertise to share. And I want to share with other people to create a life that you love, to create a business that's successful, to have that freedom and flexibility. So we get so worried about the marketing, the networking, the referrals, the sales, the social media, blah, 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 and whether we're doing enough and whether we're doing it right. And sometimes we're just checking the boxes and you really stop thinking about who you're serving. And we need to keep that in the forefront. I've been recently reading, I read the book Unreasonable Hospitality, and now I'm reading the field guide of Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidero. And oh my gosh, if you haven't gotten the book, I know I've recommended it many times, highly recommend it. But he talked about the nobility of service and kind of where he got to this. And if you don't know the story, go back to past episode or pull them up. But basically, he started in the beginning of the restaurant business and grew a restaurant called 11 Park, Madison Park in New York City to the number one restaurant in the world. And that was with service. And not only service his clients, but serving his employees, the people that worked for him and helped build this to number one. It wasn't him. And so if you've worked in the restaurant business, there's something most restaurants, good restaurants, do is they do a pre-meal is what Will calls it, but it's the meeting before the shift just to get people on the same page. And it's some of it's logistics, like you got to talk about what food, what specials, who may be coming in that day. But he took it one step further and he spent a lot of time creating his pre-meal every shift, 7 days a week, 2 shifts. And he shared a story with it. And he really, in every pre-meal, shared why their work mattered, why excellence mattered, why every interaction mattered, and why showing up with the energy mattered. These are people they're serving. They're human beings. They want to know that we care. And so I realized as business owners, we need that too. We need to be reminded why we're doing it. We get so wrapped up, as I said, with all the stuff that you kind of forget why you're doing it. And I want you to keep that heart in your business. I was talking to somebody, a part of the inner circle the other day, and we were talking about her business, and she didn't want to put a number on the goal as a goal to reach because she was afraid that that would take her heart out of it, the human. And I'm like, just think about when you hit that number, that just means how many more people you have helped and supported. So don't think about that number. Another person in the inner circle is in the mortgage business, and she was really struggling with the numbers. And I'm like, grab a piece of poster board or a piece of paper and draw how many houses reach your number. Like you need to sell 10 houses, 15 houses, and put a house or put a picture of somebody so it becomes real and visual. So we are in a world that's overflowing with information. We buy the courses, we listen to the podcast. Yay, I'm glad you're listening to this one. You read the books, you attend the workshops, but we already know that we should meeting the people, building relationships, following up, stay visible, ask for referrals, invite people to work with, all the things. And the challenge isn't knowledge. The challenge is to remember why you do the things that matter when business gets hard. I was at a networking event the other day and talking to a young man who started a new business, and he's in the financial world, so he can't necessarily put things on Facebook. I'm like, well, how about can you make it so you're serving people without talking about your business, giving people content, giving people ideas, sharing what you're doing. Like I said, let's take a selfie, put it on social, put on your Facebook and say, I was at a network event growing my business, so it's why you care about people. Are you sharing that? Do people know what you're doing? Or is it just a name and you're just checking the boxes? So there is nobility in service, guys. Many service providers struggle with the visibility, as I said, the networking sales, the charging what you're worth, talking about what they do, but really dig deep to what if growing your business isn't really about you. Every service provider makes somebody's life better. And so if you're a professional organizer, are you making somebody's life better because they can come into a house that's organized and not full of clutter? They can be present with their family. They're not stressed out. Their business runs smoother. I just worked with an organizer too recently. One helped me with digital and working on that, like Google, and saved me so much time learning some little tricks. The other one helped me clean up a closet, one closet. And as I look to the right, I can see my beautiful closet. Before it was a storage unit. Now it's a beautiful closet full of memorable things, but organized. She talked about the things that you need right at your hands. It's valuable real estate. A mortgage lender, is helping somebody get into a first home or a second home. A financial advisor is helping somebody plan for the future so they have a better life. An elder care professional that comes in when your family is in crisis and helps you and supports you. There's so many things that serve other people and help people. I heard somebody the other day, we were talking about a really unusual business, which I've never heard of and I love. It's there's so many niches, and she works with people that are single as they're aging, that don't have kids, that don't have family, that help keep their things and affairs in order, can help make decisions if something happens to them. So when we're a service provider, we provide that service and we help people reduce the stress, solve their problems, save time. Oh my gosh, that is so valuable. How can you save somebody time? Give them confidence, create opportunities, and improve their lives. So with my business, and where I really hope I support people, is giving them a place to win, a place to celebrate their wins, a place to ask questions, a place to feel like they're not alone, the support and the ideas and the creativity to help them grow to the next level. During COVID, I worked with a friend in a restaurant. And as you know, during COVID, restaurants were suffering. And we came up with some fun, creative ideas to serve the clients that were walking in the door and to give people something fun because, gosh, we needed some fun. So it's not just service, it's noble work that we're doing. And the world needs more people succeeding. I do remember after September 11th, as a Mary Kay consultant, it was really difficult to get on the phone and want to call people. Like basically the thought process I had, the world's stopping. We don't know what's going to happen. I live right outside of DC, so there was a lot going on. And, you had the jets flying and people had lost family members. And so really, I didn't feel like I could call and say, hey, Susie, you need some lipstick. And I also found, and we all kind of as a group decided we need to start talking to people, talking to more people. And so we started getting on the phone and making phone calls and just sharing stories. Then there were some top salespeople, including Zig Ziglar and a lot of the big names, that did a sales conference for free in a huge arena here. And they said the way to get the economy going is get the salespeople back in the field. And so people have such a bad connotation about sales, but really think about you're serving people and how you're making a difference. You don't want to be pushy. And you know what? If you think you're a pushy salesperson, you're probably not, because you're aware of it. But you're building a business because you care and you want to do things to help other people. And one of my team members one time was looking at quitting her job and doing Mary Kay full time. She was worried about the money, which was understandable. But I'm like, the more people you help, the more money you make. So the more money you need to make, the more people you help. And you're being a blessing for people. The woman that she told a story one time, she went to a woman's house whose mother had passed away like a year ago. She still kept the blinds closed and she still was mourning a year later, which I know grief is hard, so I'm not downplaying that. But Shani went in and opened the blinds and fixed a fun drink with her and just sat there and loved on her. Obviously showed her some Mary Kay products, helped her feel better. So that's service. And so people need to know who you are, what you do, and so you can help them. And, how many times have you not told somebody what you did because you feel like you're pushy, you're salesy, you're self-promotional? What if staying invisible isn't humility? It's actually being selfish. Like if you've got something that'll help other people, you not sharing it is truly selfish. So how can you give back to other people? And tell people what you're doing. And if they might not be the person that you need to meet, but they might know somebody else. So this message isn't just something I'm teaching, it's something I've been living. And as I've grown Why Not Today, it's evolved and it's changes. I ended my luncheons. I tried a co-working, it didn't work. I've rebuilt the inner circle really to help serve businesses so they can grow, be successful, and be better humans and make the world a better place. We need better people in this world. And if we can just do one person at a time. And so all these decisions have really brought me back to my purpose. So now when I record a podcast, I think about somebody that I've worked with or want to work with and think, okay, I'm talking to them. And a lot of this stuff I'm talking to two particular people, Kristen and Jill. If you're listening to this, was based on conversations I had with you recently about being salesy. And so, it's helped me to stay focused when I'm doing social media. I'm engaging with people and making new friends and sharing things. It's from my heart and making a difference. So sometimes the courage looks like just starting. Courage looks like changing direction sometime. My dad, as I've mentioned many times, the podcast is named after him. He actually started the Reston Chamber of Commerce, which then was called the Board of Commerce. And I didn't realize the effect he had and the relationships he built until he had a stroke. And I remember people stopping me in parking lots and asking me, how's my dad doing? I'm like, first of all, who are you and how do you know him? But people knew who he was. He connected people. He encouraged people. He built community. His funeral was standing room only, literally. Over 500 people there. There's still people coming up to me today and said they were there and I had no idea who they were. But he built community and he wasn't just being salesy. Honestly, he didn't even have local sales, but he was building those relationships. And that creates a ripple effect. Think about that one client that you have, your favorite client. Where did you find her? And that ripple effect. I tell the story often. I've probably told in this podcast. I still remember like it was yesterday, my Why Not Today moments. I was standing at the reception area of the Chamber of Commerce. And somebody that was there that was, I knew from the chamber, super sharp. And I was a little intimidated. And I didn't want to ask her to get together and try Mary Kay. She intimidated me, to be honest. But she's like, I want to try that Mary Kay stuff one day. I'm like, okay. Well, fast forward a couple weeks, month, I don't know when it was, but it was a holiday weekend. And she reached out to me and said her mom wanted to have some girlfriends over and could I come over? So one, you got to be ready. And I was ready to run out the door. I had an appointment and oh my gosh, all the ladies had a great time. We had so much fun. A rainy holiday weekend became a fun event. There was a woman sitting in the corner with her arms crossed, like not into it at all. Very little engagement, but she reached out to me or she ordered some products and then she referred me to one of her coworkers that was turning 30. And oh my goodness, she was like, I need help with skincare. So I was able to serve her. And then she had a roommate that loved Mary Kay and had used it before, ordered a few things, ended up hosting a party. And then she ended up becoming a consultant. She's like, I want to get the products at a discount. And then she talked to her best friend that lived in Connecticut. And Duran is like, I want to start this business. And, she was going through divorce afterwards and it helped her grow her confidence, have some extra cash, be there with her daughter. And so, and from there, it continued to grow. And I looked back like a year later, we had over $300,000 of the sales from that one interaction. So think about, how you can serve people and how the ripple effect, how, you help a mortgage person help somebody get in a home, an organizer helps somebody's house better. And it's not just affecting them, it's affecting their whole family, their community, and it's a ripple effect. One person leads to one person leads to one person, and you're making a difference. So your visibility does matter. It isn't about the attention, the likes, the engagement, all the things. It is about access. Networking isn't about collecting business cards. It's about building relationships. So you have somebody, you might not need the service, but you have somebody that reaches out to you like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to I'm looking for this. And I have a Rolodex of those people. So referrals isn't asking for favors. It's asking who else can you help? And so that's where I'm going with the Why Not Today inner circle is really, I'm teaching a method called the Courage Method. It was on last week's podcast. And I am here to help support businesses to remember their why, to make an impact, to change lives. And, people, as I said, don't need more information. We need to build those relationships. Lots of stuff's going on in the world. We got lots of bad stuff in our head. But how can you grow your business to be a service for somebody? I want you to remember, why did you start? And why is that in your heart? And write it down. Have it in front of you. Maybe a big heart with the reason in there, your why. Go back to the memories of when you first started, how excited you were. And when you're in the weeds, we do have to do the boring stuff. But when you're in the weeds, then remember that amazing client. I always talk about my client, Jenny, who, when she first had an appointment with me, she bought everything. And I got home and I still remember calling in these days, old days. I called my voicemail, listened to the message, and there was a message from her. And my first thought was, she's returning everything. But she was just calling to thank me and tell me how special she felt and how amazing she felt and pampered and how much fun she had with all her girlfriends. It was before her wedding. And so remember those customers. So I want you to think about two questions as I close this. Who benefits when your business grows? Really think about when you have more clients, when you can do more things, when you can help people. And the more clients you have, the better you get. And then ask yourself something even deeper. What if the people who need you most simply haven't found you? They're looking for you, they're praying for you, but you're not out there, so they don't know who you are. So it's your responsibility to become visible enough for them to find you. Because every networking event, every follow-up, every conversation, every referral, every invitation, every courageous action creates a possibility that someone's life will be better because that you showed up. And that, friends, is the nobility of service. That's a ripple effect of relationships. And that's why your business deserves to grow. And that's the heart of Why Not Today. So because one courageous action today may be exactly what someone else has been waiting for. So share, what is your service? Let's grow together. Let me know how I can support you to make that business grow and be able to serve more people. And let's make a difference together. Because why not today? So thanks again for listening to the most recent episode of the Why Not Today podcast. And if you're enjoying this podcast, this episode, share with a friend, post it on social media, leave a review. That helps me reach more people, to be able to serve more people and entrepreneurs, to give people a lifestyle they enjoy and they love. If you want to know more about Why Not Today, I have a free Facebook group called Assistant Clients. There's lots of resources, things on my website, which is whynotTodayMovement.com. And remember, you don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to take the next step. So ask yourself, why not today? Thanks for being here. Bye.